Thanks a lot, HobbyPlus, for making my entire mini crawler fleet obsolete. Just kidding, sort of. The HobbyPlus CR18P Evo Pro is here and it means business. This is a ready-to-run comp-style crawler that's loaded with new features, including an all-new aluminum low center of gravity chassis kit with a 5-degree angled skid and a layout that looks like it was designed by your favorite comp crawler custom builder. It's also got a fully upgraded powertrain, oil-filled big bore shocks, and aggressive yet functional styling that make this thing look as good as it performs. All for a price under $200, and there's even a brushless version floating around out there. Be warned, after watching this video, you might have a lot more shelf space. Can it really be that good? Let's jump in and check it out. Let's take a look at the box. Let's open this thing up. HobbyPlus has really nice packaging. The Evo Pro comes in this nice compact box. Some light specs, key features on the other side. Let's open this thing up. I have opened it up to charge the battery and check it out. I have not run it at all, so we're going to do all of this together. Inside, you got your owner's manual, got your basic USB charger and a T-wrench. Comes with a 2.4 gigahertz 4-channel transmitter that we're used to. This is the nice one, this little Fly Sky unit here. This has your trim adjustments on the front, some additional functionality here with these 4 switches. It's going to have your 2-speed transmission switch right here on the side. Here is the beauty right there. Look at that thing. Holy cow. First impressions of this truck, I am in love with the looks of it. When I first saw this truck, someone tagged me in an Instagram photo of it actually, and I didn't think it was real. It looked like one of those early concept photos that you see from auto manufacturers, like the concept drawings before the real thing comes out, or a prototype that hits SEMA or something like that. But when I looked into it and found out that this thing really existed, I was all over it because I just love the styling of it. It has this long, low, and sleek profile. Got a almost like a Red Cat Ascent type appearance to it, with a cross between an SCX-10 Pro body, the axial body that they offer for the Pro kit. It's got the tapered fenders in the front, same thing with the rear. You've got nice clearance for these big tires, but they managed to get this functionality with a very nice looking body. I really, really like it. As far as I know, it only comes in this one color, this kind of steel blue metallic. It's got the black and orange decals with the Evo Pro stickers on there. No headlights or taillights. This thing is purpose built, but you do have some stickers to at least give you some sort of a scale look. There's a pickup truck bed, slightly dropped just to give it some dimension. But again, this is mostly just to put a body on this thing. And they did a good job with the aesthetic of it. I really, really like the looks of it. Some other notable features on this are the big tires. So this has the 1.2-inch wheels that we're used to on the CR18P, but they've wrapped them in these new soft and sticky 68mm tires. Now the rubber on these tires feels good. The insert feels very stiff. So right off the bat, this thing is going to need foam upgrade, insert upgrade, at least some venting. I don't believe these are vented as well. The truck is fairly light. We'll put on the scales and things now. So it's not heavy enough to really compress those tires like it should. But we'll see how it performs as is. It's also been widened. So this is 10mm wider than the normal CR18P. And it looks like they've done that by adding in these kind of plastic hex extensions here to bump it out a little bit on each side. They look almost like a slotted disc rotor in there, but if you look closely, you can see that it's more of a hex extension, which gives it that wider track width. The wider track combined with the slammed profile is going to give you lots of stability on that thing. Up front, we've got a servo on axle design with a nice 45-degree steering angle on this. The CR18P axles are excellent, and I love to see that we got that servo on axle pre-installed for us here. It's going to keep that weight down low. To take the body off, you've got 4 pins to remove the body. Now this is where the magic really is. Look at this chassis. They've done such a good job with the layout of this chassis kit. The chassis itself is a new aluminum plated LCG setup here. It's got a 5-degree angled skid, flat skid plate with countersunk screws here. It's low and flat, places the weight forward and down low right where you want it. We've got multiple positions for shocks, both front and rear. They've relocated the battery to the skid, and they've even maintained the 2-speed transmission on this, and they fit the additional variable speed servo on the other slider. So you've got a nice balanced look and feel to this thing. We've got the ESC and receiver combo in the back. This is PPX4 water resistant. They've given us a new motor in this. So we've got a 280 big block 58 turn brushed motor attached to that CR18P 2-speed transmission. Everything has been fortified in this. We've got all metal gears through the transmission, metal gears in the diffs, portal axles. We've maintained the composite slider style drive shafts, but they have been beefed up for this model. I mentioned shock placement. Now this does have big bore oil filled shocks installed from the factory. They look very reminiscent of the ones that come on the FX118. If we were to compare those two, see, I got my FX118 right here. You can see very, very similar shock design. I dare say they're the same exact shocks. But looking at the chassis of these two together, if you can see that on camera, the Evo Pro looks like it's longer. It's got maybe probably 10 millimeter longer wheelbase on it, it looks like. Noticeably wider as well, not by a huge amount, but I do have aftermarket wheels on this, which is probably going to add a little bit of offset to it. But even so, you can see that it's wider than the FX118. Just looking at these, the FX118, even though the configuration is a little different, the FX118 also uses the portal axles. Just looking at this, it looks like the CR18P Evo Pro, the chassis sits up higher. It looks like it carries its weight a little higher than the FX118 does. So it'll be interesting to see how these perform back to back, which I will do in a later video. But just for a visual comparison here, this is what the two chassis look like together. Similar materials, but a completely different design on the Evo Pro. And if you look at them together, look at the profile of the Evo Pro, just so low and mean looking. I like the look of the Fury Wagon and the FX118, but boy, this thing is sharp looking. I love that functionality of the portal axles. I wish on something like this, I'd like to see a more beefy straight axle look. I bet this thing would be ridiculous with a straight axle setup on it. But let's stop talking about it. Let's fire this thing up and see how it performs. So we got the battery here. This does come fully ready to run. It comes with this 360 milliamp 2S LiPo battery. Should be in low gear right now. There's the slow crawl. It's about as slow as I can get it right there, which is pretty good for a brushed motor straight out of the box. The ESC is very quiet. Very, very quiet. As is the motor. That's about top speed in low gear. We got high gear. So it's got a lot of speed in high gear. I don't really know why you would want high gear in something like this, but I guess you've got it if you really need that wheel speed. It's there. Very impressive. Let's get this on the setup table. I'm going to do some measurements on it to see how it stacks up as far as actual numbers, and then we'll hit the course and the rocks with it. Here we are on the corner scales. Check it out. So if you can see that, let me move it a little bit here. So we got 55% front, 45% rear, with a total weight of about 421 grams. 55-45 is pretty good weight bias. I'd like to see that shift a little bit more towards the front, but we can easily do that with some brass upgrades down the line. But that's a pretty impressive weight distribution for an RTR out of the box. Alright, let's get into our performance tests now. Let's see how this does on the RTI, Ramp Travel Index. Driving under its own power, we get to about 17.5, just about 18 on the RTI. Now let's check out the side hill. It's 45, 50. It's about 52 on the side hill there. Let's try the vertical. 50, 55, 60, 62, starting to lift. I'd say 62, almost 63 on the vertical. Okay, my friends, Evo Pro on the indoor course. Here we go. First run ever. I have not run this at all, nor have I watched any other reviews. I didn't want any opinions or anything influencing my first impressions of this thing, so let's do it together. That great slow crawl and those portal axles and the clearance getting us through Articulation Alley, no problem. I adore how this thing looks. The orange and black decals on it against that steel blue looks so good. There's that nice turning, real strong servo too. See it kicking the back end around there. Great ground clearance there. No rubbing from the big tires on the body whatsoever. They did a great job with the fit and finish on this thing. Let's see if we can stick this line up the canyon. Yes, it does. I spoke too soon. There we go. That ground clearance getting us up over that log. That tight off-camber section there. See, those tires are really stiff. No roll on there whatsoever. I would like to see a little more flex. And we're off the rails here. Able to recover pretty easily. Very composed on that sharp decline there. We're going to head into Mini Moab to our challenge lines. Very good over the gatekeeper. These tires have almost a Hyrax type of pattern to them. We'll see how they perform. So far so good. Will it be plagued by the understeer here that almost every other truck gets on the Escalator? I think so. Still able to stick it though, plants those big tires and claws up and over. Let's try some side hill in practice here. We saw impressive numbers on the setup table. Let's see how it does on the chute. Coming across the base here, it's about 40-ish degrees, depending on where we hit it. The Evo Pro looking very planted there. Able to pull it off at the end. Very good. Let's see how we do on Hell's Gate here. Oh, what's going on here? I lost front wheel drive. Drive shaft disconnected by the looks of it. So this is actually a bummer. I don't know if you can see that, but where it connects to the motor, you see that in there? The joint actually broke where the drive shafts connect there. So I'm gonna have to see if I've got another one from a CR18P. I think I do. I could piece that back together, but that's unfortunate. So here you can see, got the two pieces here. This is the broken piece off the new Evo Pro. The drive shafts are indeed reinforced and bigger, but that means I'm not gonna be able to use my CR18P parts on it, unfortunately. I can try, but to see if I've got something around that size that will fit. So fortunately I was able to find a piece that will work here. This is actually the broken drive shaft from my FX118, but it looks like it has the same drive shaft components as the new Evo Pro does. So I'm starting to feel that as awesome as these RTRs are from Fury Tech and HobbyPlus, the drive shafts are definitely a point of failure here. Back in action here. Let's try Hell's Gate now. Tires struggling a little bit there, but the clearance and the chassis nice and flat, getting us up there pretty clean. I'm going to try that again since that was my very first run. That was better. Tires are definitely holding this thing back, but that was a good climb. So far, pretty impressed with the Evo Pro. I mean, it is just crazy that this thing is right out of the box, completely stock, less than $200, and it looks this good and performs this good and has the features that it does. Very, very impressive. I'm super excited to get this thing outdoors, so why don't we go hit the rocks with it and see how it performs in real world conditions. Do one more line here. Nice. Alright guys, out here at the gravel pit with my boy. He's got King Sling out here. I got the Evo Pro. I'm going to do my best to try to give you guys some good run footage out here. We're going to run out of daylight, and I'm also at the ravine at the gravel pit, and it's just not ideal for this thing. Not much to challenge this truck, but I'm going to do my best to give you guys some decent run footage, and we'll follow up when I can get to a better spot. First off, check out the speed in second gear. Crazy wheel speed on this thing. It's fast. And you can click it down into second gear, or low gear rather. And then you got that super slow crawl. The versatility of this transmission is great. I just love the look of this truck. It looks so good. Out at this location, the portals are really going to benefit it. The tall tires and the portal axles are going to give us that clearance to get over these kind of golf ball sized rocks that are everywhere. As you can see, it's already gliding over these things pretty simply. Doing some limbo action there. Tires seem to do a pretty good job out here in the loose terrain. Able to navigate that pretty well. Good thing too, the thing has a wicked approach angle. Check this out. So we can bump up and over it. Oh yeah, nice. Just trying to find some sort of rocky terrain to challenge this thing. I love the suspension action and how this thing articulates. It works really, really well. Great slow crawl, tons of control on this thing. Feels almost brushless the way it crawls. Look at that thing go. Nice, so good. Rapidly losing daylight here. Look at that chassis, super poised. I'm going up on 3 and 2 wheels all over the place. Very impressive. Alright, I think I'm just about done. I'm going to run out of daylight. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap it up here with the Evo Pro. This is a great truck. I'm so bummed I didn't get a chance to take it to a better place to show you guys what it can do. But we'll have a follow-up to this video, and I'll get this thing out to crawler heaven or someplace where we can really showcase what it's capable of. But I'm very impressed with it. Very fun, very cool truck. Very, very impressive RTR for sure. First impressions of the Evo Pro, I think this thing is fantastic. I'm not going to say this is final thoughts because I really want to get some more time on this thing in some different conditions. But after spending nearly all day with it and running it on the indoor course, getting some limited time with it outside, I'm really, really impressed with this thing. I love how it looks. The body styling on this thing is fantastic. The way that it sits, the way the chassis is situated, I am just really enamored by how well it looks. Performance-wise, it did really good. The numbers that it put up on the setup table were great, and I did see that translate into performance, although I do believe that the tires, not necessarily the tires, but the inserts and lack of venting, I think are holding this thing back. We did have a little bit of issues when I snapped the piece off of the drive shaft on the indoor course, but after getting that fixed, I had no issues with it whatsoever, even pushing it pretty hard outdoors on the rocks. I'm struggling to come up with anything to complain about with this thing. While I love the functionality of the portal axles and the additional ground clearance that we get, I really wish that we could get a straight axle version with this. I think if we had 68mm tires and a straight axle setup, you could keep this thing even more planted and you'd get better performance out of it. I also question the need for the 2-speed transmission in a rig like this. Part of me wants to strip that extra servo, lock this thing into low gear and just run it as a single speed. But overall, man, this thing is a sweet little rig. And I do believe with some brass, some good unsprung weight, a proper tire and wheel setup, this thing is going to be lethal. I got the brush version here from Healy Direct for about $168. I'll put the link in the description down below. Like I mentioned earlier, there is a brushless version of this floating around. I think the price on that is around $240. So stay tuned as I'm going to start building this thing out. I'm going to start tweaking it. I've already got some brass and some upgrades on the way for it. And I will be sure to take it out to one of our favorite crawling spots and really test this thing on some complex obstacles. But let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the CR18P Evo Pro? Is this the best RTR in mini form that we've ever seen? And as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and I'll see you in the next video.